Hello and welcome to my second tutorial ever. Hopefully I do a better job than the first time here. Uh, what this tutorial is going to show is how to do a 2D sprite animation on a 3D model. So as you can see, this model is fully 3D and it uses a sprite sheet in order to animate the mouth, the nose, and the eyes. So you can see I have some basic facial expressions, and these are all 2D animated onto the face, and it uses a sprite sheet. And how it works is it will Unity, we make a sprite sheet in Blender, and then in Unity it's able to turn it into tiles where it can point to each tile as a blend shape. So the eyes open is one blend shape, the mouth having an ah shape is a second blend shape, and we set it up in Blender, but it's Unity that does all the configuration. And the point of this tutorial is to show how to do that, because there wasn't a lot of guides online months ago when I was trying to figure out how to do this. So with this guide, hopefully others will be able to do this as well. And when I say sprite sheet, it means something like this. So here is my very simple eye sprite sheet. And what it does is it will point, Unity points to each of these depending on what blend shape is called. So we're going to get started on making one of these just to show how it is done, or rather how I do it. I don't know if this is the best way of doing it, but it's what I've known. I'm going to assume that whoever's watching this kind of knows what they're doing in terms of making not necessarily VR chat avatars, but more VTubers, because there is a different technique if you want to do VR chat, and that's a completely different tutorial. So this will be mostly focused on VTubers, 2D animation, and specifically VNAN. I don't know if this works for VC Face, but I definitely works for VNAN for the animation. So we're going to start just by making a basic sphere, and we're going to pretend this is we'll roughly say it's a head. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull out some of this, duplicate Y, and we're going to pull it out ever so slightly. And what that's going to be is this is going to be where the sprite sheet sits for the mouth. Let me separate that. So that is the mouth. So we will make a sprite sheet that will animate onto that mouth, so it will sit ever so slightly, maybe 1 pixel in front of the face. And we're going to do the same with the eyes. Okay, and I'll be switching back and forth between a completed model and this tutorial model, just so people can see like what it looks like when it's done and what it looks like when it's still in process. But this is just the very basics to give people an idea. So now what we're going to do is we would normally color this, whatever, but we really don't need to. We're going to assign a material to each of these. I'm just going to call this eye matte, head matte, mouth matte. Okay. And we're going to make this, give it a texture. I'm going to give the eyes a basic square shape because it looks like it's going to be a rough square for that. Let's make it white. Same with the head. We'll just give it a whatever. And time for the mouth. For the mouth, we're going to make the width just a little bigger because this seems to be rectangular shaped. There we go. Did that in the wrong direction. Okay, so that's the basic starts. Now we're going to go into texture paint. Actually, no, we're not going to go into texture paint yet. Excuse me. We're going to unwrap the UVs. So it looks like this is backwards. That should be fine. I'm going to split these off to the sides here like that. There we go. So what we're going to do is once we unwrap our UVs, this will be the template we're going to use to make the sprite sheet. And what we'll do is in a different external program, drawing program, ideally not MS Paint, I use Clip Studio. We'll expand upon this to add a second tile here, and then a third tile down here, and a fourth tile here. And we'll have the basic eyes drawn in, but this will be our template going forward. So that's for the eyes. So let's do unwrap that. I don't like that, so let's give it a rotation of 90 degrees. Let's give it a rotation 180. Straighten that out a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we got that unwrapped. So now what we would do is we're going to go into texture mode here, texture paint. And we're going to draw in some eyeballs just to give us a rough shape of what we want to do. Probably shouldn't have picked white on white, but whatever. So there's some eyes. Let's grab the mouth, texture paint that. And there's a basic mouth. So this is the start, and this is going to be our template going forward to make the sprite sheet. Like I said, when I did this for the protogen model here you see before you, I started out with this basic shape right here, and then I added a template for the blink and then a couple other eye expressions. And I did the same thing with the mouth. I made a sprite sheet showing the basic mouth and all the different expressions for it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start with the eyes. We'll go back to this. We're going to save a copy. iText. Yep, that sounds good. And we're going to import that into our drawing program. Excuse my files, very messy. So there's our eyes, and something I'm going to do as well. There's probably an easier way of doing this. I don't know what it is we're going to also grab a screenshot of the eyes with the basic shape around it, and this is going to be used as our mask so we know how to draw around it. Like I said, there's probably better ways. There's probably tools that do this, but I don't know what they are, so I just do my method. which works out pretty okay. Yep. So there's our basic mask. So now we can get our drawing program, use our pens or whatever we want to do, and draw the proper eyes, eyebrows, whatever we want here. So I'm just going to work very quickly. Again, this kind of assumes you're an artist and have your own style of what you want to do. So there is one done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand my canvas now, and we're going to turn this into a square. So 256 doubled is 512. And I need to trim this a little bit. Yeah, a little more trimming. We're trying to get this as perfect as we can. I think I got that. The reason for that is because we need these to be an exact sprite sheet where every little pixel counts. So. All right, there we go. We'll replicate this a couple more times here. I think I got this about right. If you're off by a few pixels, it's not going to make or break it. But the more accurate you can be, the better it will be for a sprite sheet. So this one is done. That's the basic eyes. So I'll turn off our fake mask we have. And this one we will start in. And we'll do a different facial expression. We'll do a blink. Again, just kind of eyeball it to get as close to pixel perfect as we can. So there's our blink. And we'll make this one, oh, I don't know, excited, I guess. And I'll probably maybe speed this up in the video if I know how to do that. I'm not good at video manipulation, but we'll see. Otherwise, skip forward ahead if you think you know what's going on here. So turn off our mask. And this one we'll make question marks, I guess. We're just kind of following what we did with the protogen. But you can have whatever eye expressions you want here. Actually, let's do that. Okay, and there's our mask. So we will export this as a PNG layer to eyes text full. And there's our eyes. So we jump back into Unity here. And what we're going to do is we're going to now import the full eye texture. And we're going to go to layout. And where we assign the eye text, now we're going to select the full eye text. And switch over to this view. There they are. Now you might notice that, hey, it's showing the full thing here. That's fine. We're going to resolve this in Unity. So rather than making blend shapes in Blender for each individual one, we're going to be using a sprite sheet like this to animate. So let's save this as a VR. I'm going to save this as a VRM and then import into Unity. There's other ways to get into Unity. I have a couple add-ons that I like to use. So I think I can export this as a VRM still. Yeah, okay, there we go. So, and we can do the same trick for the mouth. We can do the same trick for the nose. We can do the same trick for the eyebrows. We can just make sprite sheets for all we want, but we're just going to be doing the eyes for now to show you how it's done. So now let's go into Unity. I have this all set up, ready to go. I'm going to make a new folder called Avatar. And there's my bird talking in the background, and we're going to import the VRM or FBX or however you want to save it, importing it into Unity. Hey, bird. Okay, there we go. And I think I need to move my model out of the way, but for now, it's fine. So there we go. Here's our model with all the little sprite sheets. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the materials folder that we have, select the iMat, which we were working on that we did the sprite sheet for, and under emission, we'll see a thing called tiling. And let me get my avatar out of the way here. Let me just get rid of my avatar here. We see tiling. And what we're going to do is, based on our sprite sheet that we made, which we have here, we have a 2x2 sprite sheet. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the tiling to be half and half. So what that means is we're going to take the tiling value here and set it to 0.5. And the tiling value here for the y-axis to also be 0.5. If your grid was a 2x6, for example, 2 here and 3 down, so 2x3, excuse me, you would set the x value to be 0.5 and you set the y value to be 0.33 or 1/3. And if this was a 2x4, it would be 0.5 and 0.25. And et cetera, et cetera. You can also go more to the x-axis. You can keep going down to the y, but that's basically what we're doing, is we're setting that. And then we need to set the offset. The offset value lets us set the face as neutral for what we want here. So in this case, it's down here in the bottom left because Unity counts this as the 0, position as bottom left. And we need to get up to here, our default position. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the offset to be 0 because we don't need to be the right hand column, and we're going to set the y value to be 0.5, which is going to be this one. So we set that to 0 and we set this to 0.5, and there is our default position. So now we're going to get into the blend shapes for animating the eyes. If you notice, we didn't set up any blend shapes in Blender because we're going to be doing all the blend shapes in Unity. So now we go into our blend shapes here. Zoom this out so we can see it. There's our neutral expression. We're going to set up a blink. So we're going to go to the material list, set up a new list, and we're going to grab the eye mat. And this is important. We're going to select main text underscore ST. And this allows us to set up the actual animation for the tiling. And we're going to do the same tiling that we did before, 0.5 and 0.5. And for the blink, go back to our sprite sheet here. Oops. Our blink is located at 0.5x, so this axis, and 0.5 up for that axis. So 0.5 and 0.5. There is our blink. And we're going to just set up a couple other things here. So for sorrow, do the same thing again, IMAT, ST text, and you can do multiple here. So if we had a mouth avatar, we would just add another list and we would select the mouth mat and do the same thing. But for this tutorial, we're just showing one to get the basic idea here. 0.5, 0.5. We'll leave that as the, let's do, that for sorrow, and we'll make this one fun. So same idea, 0.5, 0.5, and there it is. So now we have our neutral face, a blink, and then two little expressions that we can convey. And just for shits and giggles, we're going to turn this into we're going to do a VRM here. So that everything kind of looks blended together. Okay. Let's export our avatar bundle. And we'll load this up into VNyan, and I'll show the configurations on how to set up VNyan to support this animation type. So this model is not going to have a talking mouth. All the animations is going to be with the eyes. Come on, Unity. You almost done? It's almost done. Like I said, this tutorial assumes some level of VTuber creation experience. This is just to show the 2D animation style. So now I'm going to go into my VNyan. We're going to load up the avatar. And if I did everything right, okay, let me get that on screen. There we go. We have a 2D animation of the eyes. We have our blend shape set up. We have the facial expressions that we also configured, and we can do the same thing for the mouth, doing the 2D animation sprite sheet, nose, or anything else you want to think of. So in order to get this to work though in VNyan, there is a little trick we got to do, and that is on the expression editor. We need to set up all of the monitor values to trigger instantly. So there we go. For the mouth shapes, for example, here's an example. If we made the E shape, we would have to set up the value for that. So let's go to one of the eyes we've done. So this is the sorrow value, how I have it set up for sorrow for me. We need to basically configure when a blend shape triggers, like for example, angry, it needs to trigger the angry blend shape to the max value in 0 seconds. So let's show blink, for example. When blink gets triggered, it needs to trigger the blink blend shape to immediately set it to 100. Otherwise, if we didn't do that, and I'll show it here, so let's get rid of this. When we blink, it sees it doesn't quite work well. That's because it's trying to slide the blend, it's trying to slide the tile over to the blink one. And what we need to do, I have this set up right? No, there we go. What we need to do is trigger these blend shapes immediately. So that's the idea. So I'm going to load up the Protogen one. Where's Protogen? There she is. So you can see the blend shapes. So this uses 3 different 2D animation styles. So for the mouth, we have the basic mouth shape set up to trigger immediately. For the I have it set to be 2 rather than 1. So that it has a little higher priority on that. And I'm going to go into Blender to show this model so you can see. Yeah, we'll save that. Because now that we've done the tutorial, you can see that this is a blend shape or a 2D animate sprite sheet for the eyes. I have a 2x3. The nose is just a 1x1, and then the mouth is a, I think it's a 2x4. And we can actually go in the texture paint. Yeah, it's a 2x4. So same idea, just applied a little further, and I'm going to load up Unity to show it off, but that's basically it. Same, you can do the same idea that I did for the eyes in here that you can for the mouth and anything else you can think of. So let me load up the Protogen. Yeah, it's got to load, so this might take a minute. So all I'm going to do is just load up my Protogen here in Unity so that you can see what the final product looks like, and you can see multiple blend shapes as well once it loads. So I'm going to, no, I'm not going to pause the recording. There it is. So there she is in all her glory. We're going to go into the blend shapes here. This will take a minute to load. So there's my Go to material list. You see it's just grabbing the mouth. A, E, O, U. There's the blink, just the eyes. Now, when we do joy, we have 2 set up here, one for the eyes, one for the mouth. So it's pointing at both of those 2. That's fine. We can do that. Same for the angry. We're just doing 1 here. Sorrow is just 1. Fun is 1. And then I have a tongue here for sticking out my tongue. And again, it's doing 2, but same idea, same concept. You can scale this up and down as you see fit, but that's basically the tutorial on how to do this, how to do the 2D animation on a 3D object. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, put some comments below and I'll try my best to answer them, but that's it. Yeah. See ya.